revenue wise, like we said, we were at 20K, something like that. Now we're at 100K, probably consistently a month. And
GBP, by the
yeah,
way, everybody. So like that is
yeah,
like that's
yeah,
like
yeah.
five. That's like $600,000 Canadian. Since from this day, it's been 964 days since you joined the agency.
Mad.
Every time you see someone saying, "Hey," on Twitter, well, who's the performance creative agency I should work with? You're the first one, the second one, the third one being commented by so many other people in the space. Hello, hello, everybody. Hope you guys are all doing absolutely amazing. Today, I have the performance creative king on Twitter, somebody that every single person in the space of ecom recognize. We have Mr. Sour Fraser today joining
Yo,
us for this discussion and this case study video. So, Fraser, how you doing, bro?
I'm good, thank you, mate. Yeah, all good, thank you.
Amazing. So Fraser was actually one of our first clients joining back in 2023. I did the calculations from this day. It's been 964 days since you joined the agency.
Mad,
And
mad.
I've seen you grow company wise, personally. I saw you get the office, talking about it, building it. I saw you go from getting engaged all the way to getting married. And I'm like, at this point, you've become more than just a client. You've become an exceptional friend, right? We have our obsession of Pokemon cards and we talk agency scaling. You've been an advisor to me, and I've been able to help out with our agency in many different forms for you. And that's what I kind of wanted to make the theme of this call about today.
Yes, man. Yeah, it's been a real kind of privilege. Like I know that. I mean, when we started, I'd never even seen your face for like a year. Like probably like a year, maybe a little bit more. Like I genuinely had like all I ever heard was your voice on the calls, and now look at us, we're on a video call together.
Completely, man. Yeah, it's been a crazy journey since the beginning. So I wanted to ask you, can you share where you were before and
Mm.
versus where you are right now in terms of revenue and growth for your agency from when we first started off to where we are right now? Because I know there was like some crazy numbers just in the first few months and then the first year. And I know things were a lot easier on Twitter back then, but even now we've been able to have a chokehold within the industry, within your niche as well. So yeah, let me know where you were before when you first started versus where you are right now.
Sure. So when we first came to you, we were an operating business. We did add creative, but the main issue we always had was lead flow. And I think there's probably a lot of agencies that feel the exact same, right? You feel like you're constantly chasing your tail whenever it comes to finding the next deal. We were still finding our footing of like where we were as an agency. Like we've been operating in ecom since like 2020, right? Before that, we used to do corporate videos and stuff like that. But when we came to you, it was because I'd started doing a little bit of like Twitter stuff, and I've seen like I knew there was something there. I tried LinkedIn in the past, it didn't really work. My clientele wasn't really there, so I just started tweeting and I started to pick up a bit of steam. And then I knew there was something there, but I didn't really have the expertise on how to do that. I followed yourself on Twitter, and I think we got on a call, and then we kind of went from there. I think at that point we were maybe fluctuating between like 15 and 20K a month, which is, it's a good place to be, right? But it's also not the place I wanted to be. It didn't allow us to do the things that we have done, sorry. And the main issue is that we'd sign people on like 3-month agreements, but we never knew if they were going to, renew. We never, we hadn't quite dialed in our product, but also just the lead gen wasn't there. So I didn't feel confident in hiring new staff. I didn't feel confident in taking on new space in order to grow because I didn't know when the next job was coming from, which is never a good place to be.
Yeah, completely, man. I remember that point too. I remember you were sitting just under 10,000 followers on Twitter. I
Mhm.
remember that you were saying, yeah, I'm growing followers, but in this past 90-day period, because you hired us in 2023 January, and then Q4 you were saying was a very slow time for you at the previous year.
Yeah, I mean,
And there,
I'm fairly sure that I was like maybe like 5,000 followers. I think I was like well below sub 10, and I think that
yeah.
was like maybe one of our first milestones. Was like let's kind of try and hit 10K because I think followers meant a little bit more back then. But yeah, I mean, for anyone in ecom, you have Q4 and then you're always going to have a bit of a down patch because obviously everyone has spent all their marketing budget during Q4. And now they're like, okay, Q1, the only people who are really looking to expand then is going to be the like, health and wellness brands. And it wasn't really a space that we worked much in at that time. Yeah. So we came to you. Was it January when we came on?
It was January, yeah, 2023.
Yeah. So we came on being like, okay, well, we need to do some. I remember speaking to my business partner and being like, okay, so there's this this guy. I don't know what he looks like, but I kind of, I kind of have a feeling that he can help us kind of get there. Like it was a big investment for us. It wasn't for us at that time. Yeah, it was, it was like taking on another member of staff. But I was like, if we can just bring in one or two deals with it, like it's paid for itself. And so that's what my goal was going in, and now we're well above that because of the relationship we've built and the work that we've put in.
Absolutely. You've been kind of a pioneer in our own agency as well too, giving your feedback on how we could evolve as time goes on. When you first started off with us, we were just content ideas for you, right? We were literally presenting stuff to you
Yeah.
on a Google document, then we moved into Trello, and then we started providing hooks, then we started providing optimizations, and you've been such a pivotal part of our journey as well in terms of the feedback that you've been able to give us, and that recurring feedback we've been able to apply it as a actual cemented part of our offer now. And now it's like you essentially built your own dream team for acquisition on the written organic side with us, as like you came in as a leader and you communicated to our team as a leader. We implemented all of those, and now we're predictably generating those results for you. So we know where you were at when you started. Now where are you right now in terms of revenue, in terms of the size of the team, and how have things evolved over these past 2.5 years?
Yeah. So when we came on, team size was three or four potentially. Now we're at 12, looking probably to be at about 15 by like March next year, probably. Revenue wise, like we said, we were at 20K, something like that. Now we're at 100K, probably consistently a month. And
GBP, by the
yeah,
way, everybody. So like that is
yeah,
like that's
yeah,
like
yeah.
five. That's like $600,000 Canadian.
Yeah, yeah, that's like £1 million Canadian a month. Yeah, so yeah, exactly, yeah, pounds. So it's I mean, it's crazy our growth in the past like 3 years, 2 years. Like I'm very proud. Like we were operating from a 500 square foot office space. Like, we make ad creative, right? We film stuff. It was an absolute nightmare. Like half of our place was gear and like studio stuff. And then we had this like small corner where we were all working from. Then last year we moved into this much bigger space. It's 2,500 square foot. It's like, massive. And that's again allowed us just to grow what we do like tenfold. Right. So yeah, both on team front, actual physical size, and revenue has all kind of gone up and since us working together.
So, what have you been able to focus more on within the business that was able to get you to over 6x in revenue after we were able to take over the lead generation side for you? Because now you're able to focus on your craft a lot more. You were able to train exceptional people, find this exceptional talent. You were able to create better SOPs, better ops, and better systems to generate better results for the clients. And that's why every time you see someone saying, hey, on Twitter, well, who's the performance creative agency I should work with? You're the first one, the second one, the third one being commented by so many other people in the space because you were saying you were nervous about the 90-day package in the past because you didn't know if they were going to continue. But I know your LTV has improved drastically. I know people are screaming your name from the top of the mountains. I have ecom founder clients right now who've worked with you, and it's just so cool to see. So throughout this entire period, what have you been able to focus more on as we took over the Twitter side?
Yeah, I think the main thing for me is just improving our product. Like that's and I don't think that's ever going to end because I think I speak for many like agency founders. Lead flow takes up so much of your time. And so if you can take that off and you just have people coming to you, it frees your brain space up and your capacity to just be able to focus on the stuff that actually moves the needle. And yeah, for us, the main thing is retaining clients. Like that's been my main goal this year. And I'm really pleased. Like now we're heading into Q4 and we've retained the most clients we ever have. And I truly believe that is because we have a much better product now because of the time saved in other areas of the business. And yeah, I think, yeah, it's just freed up a lot of capacity for me to build out the product, be able to work on my own skills in sales and management and stuff like that. And yeah, I think that's what's really helped in terms of like what it's allowed me to achieve.
That's beautiful. So, what are some examples of moments where Mogul Media was able to help you really with your lead flow in terms of like for example, I know there's periods where things get low and you put up a red flag and you let us know, hey guys, lead flow's low, engagement's low, especially within these past 2 months. I know in June, at the end of June, you put up that red flag again and the team went to work. So, I wanted to ask your thoughts on how do you like the process that we have together where we're able to solve those problems? How do you view that problem solving from our side? Do you just trust us to do it? And what's the confidence you have with us?
There's been a ton of times, right, where our lead flow hasn't been great because we are relying on organic platforms in general. It's always going to be up and down. And I think it took me a while to realize that. Like the only way that you can get fully consistent all the time is paid, but then you're paying for your leads at the same time. So yeah, whenever we've been in like a down slump, we've normally had a conversation and we've adapted something within the strategy to allow us to up our lead flow. I think one thing, like going back to your last question, because of I now have a bit more time back, I can invest in other platforms like YouTube and stuff like that that has allowed me to fill in those ebbs that kind of come with Twitter, really, because Twitter is still our number one lead source consistently. For the 3 years we've been working together, like Twitter has been our number one lead source. There was 1 month, I think it was June actually, or maybe July, where YouTube overtook it. But I think Twitter was going through a bit of a bad patch, like it normally is at some point. But now now it's back up, and yeah, your ability and your team's ability to adapt and to help us make those changes has massively helped, because the last thing you want to be doing is having bad lead flow caused by your organic content, but you're just continuing down that path, because then you're going to get way further down that road before you make a change, and then it's going to be harder for you to get back. So how fast you make those decisions is really important.
Yeah, because we've seen the platform change so much from the days where Twitter was so easy to blow up on, very, very easy, which you remember back in 2023. And then when Elon came in with the acquisition and he's getting rid of followers, right? He thinks followers is a useless metric. And there's been so many different updates to the algorithm, from views changing to your content no longer showing 2 followers to switching into the interest graph. And I know anytime we have those updates, you're the first person, like you're immediately told before you will even see it on the timeline on Twitter. We have our own research and we're able to share that all with you, and we let you know how we're going to be adapting the strategy. So you've seen it was realistically every 90 days there's some huge massive change within the platform that we have to kind of adapt into. Now, the other interesting thing is, as a performance creative agency, you're not the only performance creative agency that we've worked with. However, if I were to close your audience's eyes and read your content or in somebody else's content, people would be able to recognize your account as you versus somebody else, because you have such unique content for your account, such unique series. For example, the static ad breakdowns, we've been doing that since 2023, right? That is ridiculous. It's become such a series. You become
132 weeks, 133 weeks, something like that.
unbelievable. Like you've become a Netflix series in the creative niche for these ecom founders to be studying, and it's the same people engaging over and over again. And we've been able to build these series as for your account that are predictable. So I wanted to get your thoughts on just you being able to have your own unique voice in the space. I feel like that's something that you're very proud of, that people recognize you for, and it's something that we did help facilitate. That we didn't get all of the clients that we also work with in the performance creative niche to have any sort of similar content as you. Yours is behind the scenes, building in public, but at the same time showing what's currently working now. Someone else could be more analytical. Everybody has their own unique pillar, and I feel like we really dialed in on your pillar very well.
Yeah, and I think I remember when I first started, I gave you a couple of names which were big in the space, which I was like, I want to compete with them or be better than them. And I remember you saying like, yeah, give it time, we'll get there. And like now and again, we used to send, kind of texts over to each other being like, oh, they're copying our content, they're closing in, right? And I think, yeah, again, that's just a testament to the work, right? Is that whenever I see people like stealing our content ideas or like doing stuff which is like very similar to the stuff that we've done, it's just testament to like how good our content is. Because for a start, they never do it for as long as we've done it. They do it for a couple of weeks and then give up. And yeah, I think that's possibly and definitely probably one of the hardest things that we've struggled with, particularly in the transition between like I used to write all the content with your help, and then we moved over to you guys like writing it. And I think that was a bit of a struggle for us to kind of find that tone of voice shift and like take my mind and like put it in your team. But we got there, and it's still something which we're working on all the time. Yeah, but I think being able to craft these series and things that people can come back for, and just a style of content is so really important, particularly in like such competitive space now.
Yeah, you have to be memorable in the space. You need a branded style of content that is so unique to you that people can remember you for. Like I see there's this kid right now, 19-year old who's flying around the world in his own little plane and he's stuck in Antarctica. He's trying to go through all the
Yeah, I've
continents,
seen that guy. Yeah,
right? And
yeah,
he's stuck there, right? But like he grew over 1 million followers because people are connected to that series, right? You become a episodal part of people's lives. And I think that's such a core point to get people to keep you top of mind, especially as the space has evolved so much. It's become so competitive. There's everybody
Mhm.
and their mother is now an agency owner in the e-com space. Everyone's trying to
Yeah.
push, and it seems like evergreen value that we were focused on back in the day was so important. But now what matters more is your personality. You talking about your fight with your own mental health and how you're
Mhm.
winning that side of things. We're talking about your building in public, you getting married, you building this office, and people were able to connect with you on that personal level. So the personal side of the personal brand has got so important, and people have really resonated with your personality. And I think that's the next point over here is a lot of these founders in the space right now, they're just posting the same generic templated value and they're looking for efficiency over effectiveness, right? And they don't understand that a personal brand, and I'm saying this like as a caveat, is there is involvement from the founder, there is involvement from the agency owner. It's a dance between the agency you're working with as well as with the founder itself. So I wanted to ask, what is your usual involvement on a week to week basis, and why do you think it's important for yourself to be involved to that little extent to really build your account up?
Yeah, so usually how it works, like your team will send me over in the Slack kind of like the ideas for what we're going to be planning for the following week of content. And then the next day we'll jump on a call and basically your team will just ask me the questions for what they need. And then we normally end up having a couple of tangent conversations and stuff about it, and just kind of a general kind of catch up about the platform and like what we're seeing, and kind of spitballing some ideas around and stuff like that. And then it's a couple of pieces of content like that I'll have to go and grab, whether it's like stats from a video or a video itself, or maybe it's some like, some ads or whatever. Like there's a couple of things that I'll have to send over. Then that's basically it in terms of like Twitter and LinkedIn and stuff like that. And then you guys will write that stuff, and then I schedule all the content because I'm just a bit of a control freak. But like I think that helps me a little bit, because then I don't want to be in a position where I'm posting stuff and I don't know what I'm posting. I don't want someone to reply to a tweet and then I have to read through my own content to like understand like what they're talking about. So I schedule or review all the content myself, and then while I'm doing that, I normally will schedule some like off the cuff tweets of like things that I've seen and stuff like that, which are much more on my personal, on my personal journey and stuff like that, so that we have a real mix then, I believe, of like value sales, but also like that actual personality and the actual journey, which I think is super important. But other than that, like I wouldn't have to, I don't have to do that personal mix stuff. I just do it because I love the game, right? But like the content is there to a level where I could just like peace out if I wanted to, right? And I'd still be posting stuff and stuff would still be going out.
I love it. I love it. So my final question for you is, you have the mic right now. You're speaking in front of all of these ACOM founders and agency owners and business owners in general who are also trying to build their personal brand in the space. I wanted to ask you, if you had one message to speak to all of them about working with mogul media, what would you say?
I think personal brand is the most important asset that a business owner can have at this point. Like it is the one consistent thing that has always brought us working, and it just makes all areas of your business easier. When I get on a sales call, they know who I am already. They know what I stand for. They've read my content. They've watched my content. They know all of that because of the content that you guys are making. And that just makes everything so much easier, because you're already like 3 steps ahead of the person which has been cold pitching in DMs. And I think that's a valuable thing. And personal brand is something that stays with you the entire way through your career. It's not like a cold email or a cold call or something like that, where the contact with that person only lasts the amount of time that you're having that conversation. This is something which, in 5 years' time, if I decide to do something else, I still have the backing of this personal brand, which I've been building for years. And I think that's the important thing. And often enough, people try to do this stuff on their own. And the simple fact is, there's people that can help you and do it for you way better than you would be able to do it yourself. And I think you guys are the team that I always recommend to everyone whenever they want to go down that route. And I'm really appreciative of kind of everything you guys have done for us.
You're amazing, brother. Thank you so much. That's all for today's interview, and we'll see you soon, bro.
No worries, man. See you soon.